Hi, my name's Claire and a very warm welcome to my Slim and Well vlog. So today I am bringing to you a very much requested vlog, and that is for my slow cooker Slim and Well rice pudding recipe and topping ideas. I've decided to give this its very own vlog because I get asked for this recipe so often. So here it is. Welcome back, my name's Claire Howard. If you haven't been here before, then a big warm welcome. If you are returning, then lovely to have you here again. So, excuse me, I have just got back from the gym, but I am doing a bit of food prep and I wanted to film this particular it's not meal. I wanted to film this particular dish because it is a question I get asked every time I show myself eating it or mention it on my Instagram. Someone always asks, how do you make it? And that is the rice pudding, Slim and Well slow cooker rice pudding. Now, I generally make a batch of this every week because I love it. I use it as a breakfast, so it doesn't use a Hex B, and it's a great low sin breakfast. It is great in the evening if you're feeling a bit peckish and you want something sweet, or I even take it to work sometimes as a lunch or just as an extra dish. It's really low sin, so it usually works out less than 1 sin per portion if you're using your healthy extra A for the milk allowance. It literally is pop it all in a slow cooker and an hour and a half later it's done. I'll speak through some different topping ideas in a little while. Obviously they are additional sins to the rice pudding, but the rice pudding in itself is a really great filling low sin dish. So let's just talk about the rice and the ingredients. First up we have our pudding rice. This is Asda pudding rice. Now, I've been asked quite a few times from people who cannot find or locate the pudding rice in the supermarket. It is generally, as a rule, I have found, not with the rice. You will tend to find this either down the aisle where you'll find cooking, like bakery products, flour, your icing sugar, food colorants, all of those sort of things, the baking items. You might find it there. I believe that's where it is in Asda, or in Sainsbury's. I know when I've looked before, it is down the aisle where you'll find custard and tins, like your ambrosia rice puddings and stuff. You'll find it with that. So if you are looking for pudding rice, don't check the rice aisle. The place I would send you to is either the aisle where there's custard and tins of rice pudding, or where your baking ingredients are. That is where you'll find your rice pudding. So the milk that I use in this, you can use skimmed milk. The milk is down to your preference. The one that I tend to use is this Alpro no sugar almond. I did check, and the coconut milk is the same sin values as this. So this is 400 mils for your Hex A allowance, or 3 sins, I think. So I'm going to put the full 1,000 milliliters in. So altogether, we are putting 2.5 Hex A's into our rice pudding, and I generally split this into 4 portions. The only other ingredients that go in is I put a tablespoon of Canderel red granulated sweetener. Now the sweetener is free if you're having it in your tea and coffee, just small amounts, but if you're using a tablespoon at a time, it is half a sin per tablespoon. So don't forget to add your sin to that. I generally only put a tablespoon in. I find that is sweet enough, plus I'm generally topping my rice pudding with some fruit or syrup or something, so I get my sweetness from that. Other things that might be nice to put in your rice pudding while it's cooking, and I generally do include them, are sort of a vanilla essence or an almond essence. I've got 2 different types here. As far as I know, when I've scanned these, they are both free, and I'm only putting in a couple of drops. You could also use like almond essence or something like that. Do scan them because different ones may vary, and obviously I don't know the sin value of everything, so I can't guarantee that it is sin free. So do just scan your ingredients and double check. It also helps you to get to know the sin ingredients if you're scanning them yourself. I tend to generally put some ground cinnamon in, or buy the cinnamon sticks and put them in. Nutmeg is another nice flavour to include. You know, use your imagination, spice it up however you fancy and what flavours you tend to like and enjoy. So I'm going to go ahead now and pop all of my ingredients into the slow cooker, and then we'll talk through some of the toppings that I love. So it is now 1:28. I have just put my lid on my slow cooker and I've turned it up onto high. This usually takes around an hour and a half. I usually find if I leave it for much more than an hour and a half, it can turn to mush. So it is quite a bit of trial and error to get to the texture and like gooiness that you want your rice pudding to be. So I would recommend checking on it after an hour. I'd check on it probably every 15 minutes to half an hour to make sure that it ends up being the consistency you want. If you do find it goes too mushy and it can get a bit solid and congealed, you can add a little bit more milk or water and it comes up lovely. Like I've never had one that's gone to mush that I couldn't then eat. I love it however it comes. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave that and I'll show you what it's like when it's finished. So I just wanted to talk toppings for your rice pudding. I mean, the options are endless. Sometimes I literally just enjoy having, I used to have this on my porridge, so when I switched up and started having rice pudding, sometimes it's a topping I like to put on my rice pudding, and that would literally be a large sprinkle of cinnamon. As far as I'm concerned, you can't get enough cinnamon. Chopped up apple, some chopped up apple and honey. Honey is obviously got a syn value, and that syn value is 1 syn per teaspoon. I'll put that on the screen just because I will double check that afterwards. Obviously, again, I recommend that you scan the product you have because I don't know what the variation is between different brands. Honey's sort of a natural product, so I wouldn't think it's a great variation, but just to protect your weight loss, you don't want to be adding those extra syns on. Give it a scan and check. So honey, cinnamon and apple is a great topping. Banana, it's a good thing for anything, isn't it? It is nice and filling. We love to add a banana. So banana is a free food, not a speed food, but it's still a great filling fruit, which is really good for us. So top up on your fruit and veg every day as much as you can. I love banana with some Sweet Freedom chocolate shot. Now these Sweet Freedom syrups, I've got several here and they do a massive selection, so there's more than what I have, but the chocolate one is half a syn for a teaspoon, 2 syns for a tablespoon, and actually all three of the ones that I've got here are that syn value. So they are great. So the banana and chocolate rice pudding, lush combo. Then I have the raspberry syrup, again, half syn for a teaspoon, 2 syns for a tablespoon, and I like this fresh raspberries or strawberries, and this topping is really nice. Next favourite, which has actually replaced honey, I tend to pick this option more than honey, is the caramel syrup. I love this one. Caramel, apple, and cinnamon is a really, really nice topping for your rice pudding. Then you've got your soft fruits. I mean, you can't beat blueberries, can you? Blueberries, raspberries. Top up your food with speed. If you're having something like rice pudding, it's a free food and it's delicious. It's using our hexane, so it's got calcium, which is making it something that's good for us and wholesome. But add your free food by topping it up with loads of your, I don't mean free, I mean add your speed. A banana is great, but if you can top and fill up on your speed food, that is really going to help your weight loss in the long term, because our speed foods are pretty much, I'm really hungry, finish the gym, are the foods that are lower in calories, but still giving us that fill-in power. So if you're really struggling because you feel hungry all the time, but you're just filling up on your free foods and using your syns, then topping up, adding speed food to your free food is going to bulk out that food, it's going to keep you fuller for longer, and it is going to help you lose weight because you're filling up on food which is less calorific, okay? So in the long run, that is going to help you. And fruit is a perfect topping, isn't it, for rice pudding? Raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, apple, I mean, orange, I don't know, do you put orange on my, it's not a topping, chocolate orange, probably quite nice actually. Yeah, options are endless. So make your rice pudding, have a play around and top it with whatever the hell you like. If you've got a chocolate allowance that you're allowing yourself for the day, do that. If you've got some hi-fi bars, maybe sprinkle them on top. The options are endless. Anyway, I'm gonna get on and make my lunch and let my rice pudding cook, and I will show you a nice hot bowl of rice pudding with whatever I decide to top it with later. The slow cooker I have is this Morphy Richards one. Honestly, we've had it years. As you can see, it has seen better days, but I always have it on the high setting for my rice pudding. Like I say, usually takes about an hour and a half. So it's in here now getting hot. Again, times may vary on different appliances. So just check, see how long it takes in yours. Either way, it's just such an easy dish to make, whether it takes you an hour or 2 hours, you can't go wrong. It's like 5 minutes prep time max. Okay, so my rice pudding has been in for an hour. It is now 2:30. So I'm just checking on it for the first time since putting it in. I'm going to give it a mix. You can see that's softening up lovely. I am going to turn this down for low because it's not quite ready, but I am going to have to leave shortly to go on the school run. And I think if I leave it on high, it's going to be too long. So I'm going to turn it down for low, but you can see another half an hour and that would be just right. Just back from the school run. It is now 4:05, so it's been on for longer than it would usually have. It was on low, but as you can see, it is now 100% done. So it's had like an extra hour on low versus an extra half an hour on high. But there you have it. Slow cooker rice pudding. Here are some of those topping ideas. I hope you've enjoyed the rice pudding vlog. Like I say, it's something I get asked all the time. So now it's got its very own vlog for you to refer back to. If you enjoy the Slim and Well vlogs, then please don't forget to like and subscribe to see future vlogs as they upload.